How's it going? Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the podcast. If this is your first time as a listener, thank you for joining us. If you're a reoccurring listener, thank you for joining us once again. If the subject and the contents of coaching, leadership, and team is something that you're passionate about and resonates with you, think this channel is a great fit, think this podcast is a great fit, give us a like. Give us a subscribe. Have a great day. How's it going? This is Keone Yamamoto with the Coachers Podcast. Sitting here with Coach Ernie Brooks, head track and field coach for Crook County High School. Coach, thanks for jumping on. Please tell us about your family, journey, background, all that good stuff.
Oh, man. Well, thank you. Quite the honor to have this, and thank Dave Turnbull for recommendation. But Ernie Brooks, my family, I have two wonderful daughters. One's a sophomore at Umpqua Community College. One is going to be a junior at Eastern Oregon University. She's transferring from Clackamas Community College. Both will be throwing collegiately this year. And wonderful wife of 26 years married. And Jenny B, she is my assistant head coach. She basically runs the show and takes care of a lot of things.
Tell us a little bit about your progression, kind of your story, your upbringing, where you attended college, and then just kind of your journey into coaching.
Oh, boy. Okay. I always got started out. Grew up in Southeast Washington, Lewiston, Idaho, Clarkson, Washington area. I went to high school in a Soton, ASO-TIN, Soton Panthers. Go fight, win every time. I don't know if I have Tourette's or what, but that always comes out. That little like a B11, so like the smallest 11-man football you can play in Oregon. So it'd be like a 2A, 3A now, I guess, because 2A is now 9-man. Grew up there and moved up to my grandparents' ranch. My high school years and went to a small school, which was awesome for me. But ended up at Eastern Oregon University, which when I went there was Eastern Oregon State College back in the day, LeGrand, where I went and played football for Coach Keller was my line coach. Coach Orson was my head coach there. The Mounties, and that was 94 through 97, and did 1 year of track. So I'm head track coach the last 22 years. My big regret in college was not doing track and football both together. Football was king, was offensive lineman, defensive line. I hate it because you're always chasing someone. Offensive line, they always come to you, or you're going to them and they don't get away. And so, from there, I took a year off, coached at LeGrand for 3 years. So after I was done playing, a couple buddies and we went to LeGrand right there, and I coached for 3 years for the Tigers, and then got my first job offer, which is in Prineville, Oregon, of all places, right in the dead center of Oregon. Fold the map. I always tell people, fold the map in quarters. There's the dot, and that's Prineville. Amazing community. Got my first offer from Rocky Minor, and he was a big influence of me growing up and professional. And as a PE, I'm a middle school PE teacher, and I've been here since. So 2001, I started here, and since 2001, I've been coaching football minus like a year and a half. Been coaching track for the last 22 years. Head track and field, coached some track and field at LeGrand. And then they needed a coach, and I got thrown into it. And oh, baby, got thrown really into it. And people say, like I'm sure a question, like philosophy and all this stuff. I have made every mistake possible in my coaching career, and learn from it, and continue to make mistakes, but also continue to learn and build and learn from other people. Like these podcasts are absolutely awesome. Started on them and listening to other people, and you're just like, yes, we do it. We do that, and reinforce our new ideas that come up. And so in a nutshell, been, EOU, mount up, and then Cowboy for life, same colors.
Tell us a little bit about your why behind coaching. Obviously, you've been doing it for 20 plus years, and at one location. Talk a little bit about the why.
Why? I think it's the biggest thing that you get to figure out is your why. Like, why are you doing this? I think if you understand your why, it makes that journey a lot easier, and you can be a lot more focused on it. But I think my why starts back in high school, even before high school. Grew up in a split family, and I had a lot of parents, a lot of teammates, and that their parents were my parents, and took care of me, get me from to and from, and living on the block. We'd eat lunch up at the Parkers, and my best buddy Carrasco's. Our parents took care of each other, but I think my why is, I think it goes back to sort of my grandma and upraising, and I always tell people, I'm the size I am, and I think I played about 295, and at Eastern, and people are like, man, you're a big dude. And I'm like, yeah, my grandma would bribe us to stay for church. If you come to Sunday school, but if you stayed for church, you get to go to KFC, because my great grandma loved chicken thighs, and she was a little tiny thing. And I like eating, I'm like,
Yeah.
and, but that upbringing, just sitting in church and hearing it. And I think the why is like, where's your mission field at? Your mission field's in front of you, the kids, like how can, we send missionaries out and about other countries and stuff, but right in front of us, so many times those other dads and moms have helped me growing up. And I think it's just, you see so many kids out there that need that. Our community is not a very fluent, like in the sense of, there's like every community, there's broken families, but it's not very rich. It's not, it's a blue collar, like one of our mottos is we're blue collar. We go to work. We have farm kids, we have town kids, we have ranch kids, everything comes in. And I think it's that blue collar upbringing, that was instilled on me by those parents and my other coaches. My high school coach, Coach Willie, he'd pick me up and bring me to practice. And every morning, 6:45, honk, and get in the car. And we've all had those guys and those coaches in our lives that have done that, of just, you need something, we can figure it out and help you. And, that's whatever it is. So I think the biggest why is, loving on kids and what's in front of us. I always go back to the mission field. Like, man, my mission is Prineville, and loving on it and loving on kids and showing them, that hard work and dedication and discipline and, all those things that we bring into our program, that when you execute it and you buy into it, it's so much more. If you get a kid to buy in, we all have stories of kids that, they buy into the program and they see more than just the finish lines and the tape measures and track, or football, the scoreboard. They see so much more of the camaraderie of your buddies. You played football and I played football, and we remember those memories, of those brotherhoods. And, in track, you get ladies, sisterhoods, and, you get, this family atmosphere. And so building that family is huge. I think is more than anything is the why is building community. My wife always says I'm a builder. Hey, if I'm not home, I'm at the stadium. And I have touched every square inch of that thing, of just making it better, trying to improve and build. And, what can we use for training? What can we do? What can we paint? What can we bring in turf for, to make better? And so, I think
I like that. That's a good answer, Coach.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
That as you were talking, as you're going through your intro a little earlier, right? You talked about making mistakes as a first-time head coach. What were some things that surprised you, when you first took over that role as a head coach, that you're like, oh man, I didn't even think about this?
Oh my gosh. Like when I first started coaching and then winning state, oh boy, first year was, there was good kids, but it was like changing a culture of what was before, what was handed off to me. And, you always have groups that, that will sort of fight you on it coming in. And I think I always go that, I play the long game. Like everyone looks right in front of them, like a couple weeks or a week or this season. Our coaching staff will outlast, and we can see the end of something when the kids can't see it, like the long game. You're looking ahead, far enough ahead that you can see that, an athlete, the potential, and if they reach that potential, that they buy into it. I think that's the thing is, selling them on that, like, hey, you can be here, you could be this, a 55-foot shot putter. And they're coming out freshman year and they don't see it. They can't see past the 25-foot line, but you see, like, man, mom, dad, work ethic, like there's glimpses in there. But I think that it's the long haul of knowing at the beginning, like you're building this team, this program, and you hope to build a legacy, like it keeps on rolling even when you're gone. Like it's still going. And I think that's what trying to build here is a legacy of, like, man, of hard work and dedication and love for each other and family. That's on football and track. Right now I'm in the heat of football, and our big stress is family. And I think you have to have it. Kids don't sit down for a meal. at home, and here we have team dinners. Football, we go team dinners. Home games, I believe, we go team dinners. And then like in track, so we're feeding, 70, 75 for football. And then my wife cooks for track, and we'll have 135 up in our team room, which doesn't house 135, but we all squeeze in. And we do that 3-4 times during the season of kids sitting down and doing this. I mean, just talking and and you'll see like in track, we'll have, a stack of cell phones in the middle of the table. We go stack them up and they put their phones up. And it's just so, I don't know the words, like it's just so them connecting with each other where, today it's, we're all texting and doing our thing. And it's so easy to do that, get on Snapchat and instead of face to face and talk and, gosh, I mean, our first state title, we didn't win a league, a dual meet for like 8 years. Like we were bad. We had good groups on track and we had some good groups that, go here, but we didn't have a complete group. And we had a group like 2015, 16, 17 that was just like, all right. They bought into what we're doing and really bought. I mean, it's just, you got to have a group that buys in, and then that's when your culture starts to build, like really build. I think you can force stuff on and it lasts for a season, maybe 2. But when you can get a group that buys and then the next group buys on and the next group, and then you get the snowball. I think that's the key. I mean, I think that's the key with anything is getting a group that believes in it. And so
that's good stuff, Coach.
Yeah.
You talked about a little about football, right? O-line, D-line guy, head track coach. Is there a difference? Is there a difference in approach? Maybe communication style, maybe just overall your mindset and approach between how you approach your football athletes and how you approach your track athletes?
Absolutely. I mean, the same person is delivering it. Track is like for me, track is my ultimate individual. Like, man, you as hard as you want to work, you will improve. Football is the ultimate team. Yes, we have a group of individuals that are working for that team, and the harder you work will help your team, but one person can derail the whole team. Bad snap, fumble, you lose by 6. Okay. But the delivery can be like, you can, I've had to pull out like my football voice in track sometimes of like, seems like you have to do some butt chewing here and there and stuff. And that's what it is. I mean, and they're like, whoa, and you got girls, you got ladies and girls buy in, and they really, I think with the guys, you got to sell more and you got to, bring it more. I find it a little easier with the ladies on the buy-in, and I have 2 girls too. I mean, 2 girls I've had to coach, and probably the best and the worst moments of my life is coaching your own kid. And you got some kiddos.
I'm gonna get there.
Bless your heart, your heart, man. But it's the best and the worst. I mean, like there's moments and where you're just like, what am I doing? And there's moments like, as you get going that it's absolutely rewarding, and it's been rewarding for me and my girls. And I got 2 opposite girls. I got 2 spectrum totally on different sides of the approach. And I think it's just learning from that. And when I go to football, it's like my guy time, like really, like I can get in and I think guys need to be talked to sometimes, every kid's different. I mean, we know that every kid you step in, you can be, rough and tumble, and you can talk to a kid pretty square and be like, hey, and there's some kids that like, man, hey, what's going on? It's not, football is like their little outlet of the day, of a crap day. And some it's like, man, this is the best part of my day. Some's like, man, how do you speak to different kids, different times? But for the most part, speaking direct, like in our football, like you can be frank with them and be like, that was not good enough. We need to do this, this, and this. How are you going to fix it? And so it is sometimes can be bipolar in the sense of going football and track. Like we get going in early summer, and I have both going. We had last couple of years, we have groups that made it to the Nike Nationals. And so coaching both, instead of being, usually I'm done after the state meet and we go a little bit more, and had to juggle that. And you find myself going to football going, all right, let's go. Like I had to wrap my head around it, a little more and be like, okay, what do we got going here?
Yeah.
And so we have a great coaching staff on both sides, like with our football, coach Pard is our head coach, and building culture. Like he does an amazing job, like just holding kids accountable. And we have what's called Ride for the Brand. Like, I mean, we're Cowboys, and, that brand, is what we put our heart into, and we break it down, the acronyms and all that. And our coaching staff has been together, like it's Coach Pard's like fourth year head coach, third year, fourth year head coach, but he's been here for like 12 to 13 years as assistant, the D coordinator, and, that streamline. And with our track program, our coaching staff minus one or two, we've been together for 10 plus years, and most of them are alumni that have come back and coach it. And which is even special, when you have kids that come back and give back. And so,
no, that's important, man. I mean,
absolutely.
One of the questions which I'll ask here in a little bit.
Please do.
One of the biggest struggles, talking with coaches is, just overall coaches retention. And the other thing is whether or not coaches are within the building.
Yeah.
As a teacher, and just kind of the effects of that, and, how the athletes, not necessarily different, but how, when coaches are in the building, they felt like the connection that they had with their players are different, and they can see them, at any hour of the day, as opposed to just, the mandatory football or in the weight room, their football time, or at strength and conditioning. Anyways, you talked a little bit about blue collar from a coaching philosophy standpoint. Let's just go from a track perspective.
Okay.
What's important to Coach Ernie Brooks? What's important to you guys' track program?
I think the biggest thing to our track program is team. And like I say, it's an individual sport with a team score. And it goes back, the story I always tell is it goes back, my first year, we go to Hermiston for districts, and we scored, I kid you not, it was like 15 points at the district meet total, guys and girls, which is not good. I mean, like 15 points is like 5 7th places, kind of thing. And so on day 2 is finals. And so we don't have many in finals. And we're like, we have one girl in the 300 hurdles, which is right at the very end of the meet. And we're sitting around, we got some field events going, and we're like, man, we're just sitting here, and the coaches, we're looking around, and like, we need to, like, our kids are just sort of hanging out. Like, there's just nothing I go, we need to have a little part, like, celebration. We made it to the end of the season. And so we go down to the dollar store, and we pick up glasses with umbrellas and drinks, and, and snacks and stuff like that. And we got the coaches all Hawaiian shirts. And so day 2, we're all wearing matching Hawaiian shirts, and we're set up in our tent, and we're just hanging out, having a good time, because we're just waiting. We're encouraging our teammates and having fun and celebrating points. And that is like the cornerstone of what we've done for 21 years. Like every Saturday of Championship Saturday, we call it. So district meet, our coaching staff, we have matching Hawaiian shirts, because it's a celebration of the whole season into one, where we can just relax and let everything we put in, all the work, just explode out. Because, man, if you're on Saturday, you're in the finals. And it's just that team atmosphere of everyone buying into it, I think, is the key to what we've done. Is because, whether you're the stud 100-meter runner that's running under 11 and going to win a state title, or you're the number 14th shot putter that, goes to JV districts, and you know what, you're pretty much treated the same. And I think that's key. I mean, there's privileges being varsity and traveling and some things that we do, but for the most part, like the team of us, our motto is one team, one goal, one track mind. And we've had it, it's been the constant over the years.
Repeat that for me real quick.
One team, one goal, one track mind. One team is us. And then it can be like literally like the sense of there is one track team in Prineville, in Crook County, the whole county. We have one track that feeds everything. One middle school feeds up.
Did you come up with that? That's a good little entendre there. One track mind. Good little play on words. Good little pun there. That's that Eastern. That's that mountaineer education right there.
Yeah. Hey, short little words. I can spell them right. I don't know where we stole it. Like I am a thief, and I steal the best. I'll give back props, and hey, we're using it, but I really just steal. And I don't know where we got it, but we were just trying to come up with that one, like, we have so many islands in track, like the throwers, the distance, the vaulters, the jumpers. I mean, so many of these islands that are out there. And how do we connect the islands? And it's bringing those islands together, for the one goal. One goal is for us to PR throughout the season. And we have a list of like goals, like we want to put a 3 in the top 8 in league. In 5A, that's a lot tougher. But when we were 4A, that's where our natural fit is. And we were doing that. And when we did that, we were winning district titles because we were in point scoring positions, and we had kids that were striving to be there. And so it's just that motto of just that one team, one goal, one track mind. Like we're all together. I think the big one is Minnesota guy, row the boat. And he talks about, you're out in the ocean and you're rowing. Well, everyone is in sync. Everyone is rowing the same direction. The boat is going to go that much faster, but it's going to go in the same direction. Where you got teams where everyone's rowing at different speeds or not rowing and just coasting, then your boat's not moving. And so I go back to him. I'm trying to think, Fleck.
Yeah, PJ.
Yeah.
Fleck.
Yeah. And he breaks down family, we stress that one, and one is our family. Cause in a family, you get, you don't have to like, you don't have to like your brother and sister all the time. You have to love them. But there's times where I got an older brother and a younger sister, and man, we would fight. Me and my brother would twist me up, and he was 3 years older, just twist me up, and WWF moves. None of this WWE crap. That stuff is like fake. WWF is the real stuff. And he'd twist me up, and we would get after it, but we love each other, man. And so same thing with the family. Like, I don't have to agree with you. I mean, we just got to be able to, afterwards come back and be able like, hey, we got this. And Minnesota guy, Fleck, he was talking about family, and he broke it down. And family stands for forget about me, I love you. F.A.M.I.L.Y. Forget about me. So you're losing yourself in the moment for your teammate. And being able to tell someone, man, I care for you, I love you. Not love as in boyfriend, girlfriend, but love as in a caring agape, I think is the word. It's like we love our kids, like unconditional. Like you get in the team and we want to, and that's the hardest thing is, can you get that out of a freshman boy, to be able to go, they're giggling and you say but, and they're giggling, you say, other words. But once they understand, like later in life, they grab a hold of it and they're like, wow, that was, yeah, coach, man, I love you, at the end. And, senior year, and we do our senior night, and we walk out together, and they read, their best moments, and we do a coach's selfie. Like we just crowd around. I wish I could pull it up on my computer, but those are the best pictures that I love. We get a selfie, me, their parents, them, coaching staff all around. And that's the pictures that you want to keep. And those are the ones that you remember. Yeah. And so, yeah.
I want to backtrack just a little bit, Coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I like how you use the metaphor of islands instead of saying, hey, our team's clicky between our throwers, our sprinters, and jumpers. But I like how you use the term islands. A little bit more user-friendly there. But anyways.
Well, you got a connection to the islands, right?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Any actionable steps that you guys do as a track program to help kind of bridge that gap and enhance, team relationships and team dynamics within the team?
Yeah. We have a pretty good plan. Our master blueprint is pretty, like I said, over the years, I've made a lot of mistakes and trying to do things, and it molds, it goes up and down. But we start out the season every year, the first week, kids hate it because we're into circuits, and we bust, usually your distance wants to go out and they want to chew up miles. Your throwers want to go lift and throw things. Your sprinters, they just bebop around and not sure, get twitchy and want to go quick. And jumpers want to go play in the sand. And, but the first week and a half, we go into circuit where we divide up pretty evenly between the positions and years. And we put sweat equity in. Like we're putting in the work, putting in the volume, because a lot of our kids don't do another sport, seems like, or they come out of football and they're coming to us, or, they've been off for the winter and they didn't do any of our winter conditioning stuff. And so we're just trying to get that load in them. And that's the first one, is I think if you got to put a group through the fire, like the sweatness, like going through workouts. And sometimes you got to crank it up because we got a good group and they're really eating it up, and like we want more. But I think you got to start almost to that point of breaking. You're like, this is tough. Like understand it's going to be tough. And the easy part is at the end of the season. when we start tapering and you're like, man, I'm going to do more work. And you're like, no, put the brakes on. So the Friday of the first week I'm about, oh gosh, half a mile away we have this hill going up Barnes Butte Hill, and we take the whole team there. Throwers hate it. They're like, Coach, what are you doing? I got to jog over. It's like a good third of a mile jog over there. It's pretty close to the track, and they hate it. And the distance are like, man, this sucks because I don't get to go, long distance. Sprinters like, yeah, let's go. And but we break them up into groups and we do a giant relay up this hill, and it's a grinder. I mean, we're doing hops, we're doing skips, we're doing sprints, it's a grinder. It's the thing that you want to throw your kids through the fire, and they come out the other side a little shinier. And so we go through it. Last one, we play a game of Fox and the Hounds. You go, hey,
you got to enlighten me on Fox and Hounds.
Oh, I'll let you. So basically, it's the throwers get a head start, So we're going up this hill, and we take over the whole road. So it's like 2 lanes and then 2 bike lanes, and sometimes the police will come there and stop traffic for us. And
cool.
It's a pretty cool deal. Like, talking about our, like Prineville, it is a cool community. Like, we're like that. The cops will sit down there, click their lights on just for safety, and we have cones and stuff. But Fox and the Hounds, we put out the throwers, and in one thing, some distance, and it's probably like a quarter-mile hill. Goes up, and then it goes up one other little part, and it's just, it's a hill, but it has some length to it, and we let those throwers get a head start, and we're like, okay, they're the foxes, and then we release everyone else, and so we have 120, probably 30 starting it out, running it up, and then 120 chasing them, like, hey, you're trying to get as many as you can. You're trying not to get caught. But they are absolutely gassed at the top of this hill. They're contemplating life, decisions, what they had for lunch, then we get to see some lunches. But it's those kind of things at the top. We stretch, and then we talk a little bit just about team and this community, this group of sweating together, of putting in that time and where it's going to pay off, which, when we see, like, looking ahead, we look to districts, like all those meets in between, they don't matter. They do. The kids, we go to like Coos Bay meet down or Prefontaine meet in Coos Bay on the coast. And that's the meet you want to go, but it's only top 2. And it really matters for kids to get on that bus to go to that meet. It's a fun meet, overnight meet, but but we look through those midweek meets, like, you're training. Like, then people are like, oh, I got to run my fastest time. Like, you're not going to run it the beginning of March or April, man. Your days are going to be in the May, the 2 to 3 weeks in May, man, we are going to be flying, and them buying into that, like loading as we go. But it's like, so the first week we go there, the second week we get to break off and start our position group. So we go a big team warm up, we go team meeting, team warm up, and then we break off, as we go. But then we get into what's called Cowboy games, which is wild. We did it my first couple of years, and then we've been doing it. It's changed the event. So we divide the team up into 5, 6, depending how big the team is, teams, and it's mixed, like distance, sprint, seniors, freshmen, and these are the groups that they'll be with all year, like their families. So we put them in these little groups of families. And the second week leading up to it, we do a tug of war. We do like a tug of war competition. You get points. So everything gets points. 3 days of it. Second day, we do some type of, I think it's like some type of relays, really quick, get points. And then the last day is our big day, and they dress up, talking about breaking down walls and this cliques and putting groups together. So say I'm black group and you're white group, okay? And we have yellow, we have gray, blue, and gold. And you dress the part at school. You go to school and you are dressed, you look like a Smurf, you look like a giant banana, you look like a marshmallow. Like, you're head to toe. And they take a picture at school. So they got to get 10 people from their group together and take a picture, and they get points. And then they show up at the stadium, and that's when the face paint and the stupid stuff comes out. The banana suits. We had a banana suit last year. You dress the part. And then it gets into these events. So we have events, and they're not track events. Like, it is all about building camaraderie, about breaking down walls, and like, man, I don't want to do that, but I need to do it for my team. Team high jump is one of the events. Everyone has to get over the bar, and the bar is at 5 foot. Well, I have throwers that can't get 5 inches off the ground, but we get their butt over that bar. They get thrown over, you make a ladder. So that team building as you're going. And it can be comical at times, and it can be like, there's some serious ones that they get it. They've been planning for a year.
Yeah.
of how they're going to get over these events. We try to change them a little bit. One event that we won't ever do is joust. Thought I almost killed a kid. We put on football helmets and we had the goalpost things, and two football players, one got just knocked silly, and we're like, okay, that event's never coming back again. But so at the end, we have a food obstacle course. I have a big table, about 10 items of different, you got to, eat 3 crackers and a juicy. It's basically what's on sale at the dollar store. Like really, that's what I go down there. But the last 5 stations are whipped cream pies. And then there's 4 of them. In 3 of them, there's a peep, because it's always getting close to Easter, marshmallow peep. They got to find it, not using their hands. They got to find it, show it, eat it, and go. Well, one of them, which they don't know, is a Vienna sausage, the little ones. Like you get the little cans, I grew up on them. I just remember sucking
I used
off
to eat them all the time back home, man.
Well, there's one of those in there. So you got to warn them, like, hey, one of you is going to get it. And my daughter, my youngest, Lucy, that was my oldest, but Lucy, she got it 2 years in a row. My daughter, man, she brought it home. But then we get the points, but you're just building that, building that camaraderie. But it's points. We got a big trophy. Like the biggest trophy up in our case at the stadium is the Cowboy game trophy. And it is like an old cow skull on top of a wrestling trophy, like yay big. There's a weight belt, like a wrestling weight belt in there, like WWE. I know, not WWF, but WWE, that they're vying to get their picture with. And I think that the silliest thing, those silly little games that bring your team together. And it's through that, I think, as we build through. And then the next week we're into our first meet. And then the sort of last thing that we come back. So when we come back from spring break, and I stole this from Dave Turnbull at Summit, he does 50-second runs. Okay. And you're trying to get, like the guys are trying to get 400 meters. Girls are trying to get like 350. And then the throwers, we break it down to 25. So it's an all out run. I mean, it's an all out, it's a grinder. We do 3 or 4 of them. And we line up people along the track. They're yelling for you. You're going, the clock's going. You're trying to get as far as you can. It's a lactic threshold. Workout, everyone goes. So if you've been working out over spring break, it's handleable. If you haven't, I mean, it hurts, but it's just them working together, being together, that builds that team. I mean, I think that is the key about it is them being together, and more times they can be together, as we get going, team dinners, family time, we call it, like at the beginning of a meeting, like those family groups that they were in for Cowboy games. We'll throw a question to them. Hey, get in your families, talk about this, and that could be like, what's working this season? What hasn't? What's your goals? All things that we're doing in football on that side, that family time where they're building, is great, because I think you got to do it and build this connection where if you don't have that connection, it's easy to just go, I'm out of here. I'm not doing that. Where if you have that connection, you're like, yeah, I'm doing it. A little peer pressure in there, like, hey, they're doing it. They're in my family. I'm in it, kind of thing. And so
that's good stuff, man. You do got that thing down to a science right there.
It is. I mean, I messed up a lot and I did.
Did that come from like retention early on in your coaching career? Or is that just something you kind of, you saw someone else do it, or you thought it was a good idea and you kind of structured it that way? Because I really like the Cowboy games idea, man.
Oh, Cowboy games are fun. Someone brought it up. We brought seniors and we're just like, I can't remember exactly how we came up with it. I know, like, hey, we want to do some games or the intramural track meet where, you're competing and getting times. And I'm like, no, I mean, everyone does that. And we weren't at the point where we had, when I first came on, we had 55, 60 kids maybe, between the 2 programs. And so we probably stole it from somewhere, but it's just one of those things over the years. It's just evolved into this bigger than big thing. I mean, I'll spend probably $125 at the dollar store, just stuff. They get prizes like, hey, the winning team gets to pick candy out, here you go. Your whole team gets it. But yeah, it's really evolved, but it's good. I think, can you waste, I think it goes back, like talking about philosophy. Can you take a day away from training to do this? Like some coaches are like, man, they got their calendar out, and we have our calendar out too. Like I'm not, we dial it in, but can we take a day here? Can we start, the first week teaching in that circuit? A lot of our teaching goes in for later in the season, like our weights. we lift during practices, and we teach them during that time. And so, yeah. So I think big thing is just like, you go back to philosophy, is just building it and building that group. For us, it's about our team and the PR working together. The end product is going to be great, because if you put your best efforts into it and you're selling out for your teammate, you're going to get more out of it, and that's going to elevate you at the end. And so,
yeah. Well, I think too, just your mindset of, you're really trying to peak towards the end of the season, right?
Yeah.
So I think you can give up a day or two here, for the betterment of the team and the team dynamics, especially if, like you said earlier on, like you're playing the long game. You're playing the long game.
I think a lot of coaches run. I think a lot of coaches run into that, where they want to run fast and have that time and the name in the paper meet too. Then that means you're tapering into it. That means you've lost days. Look at Dave's teams. I mean, Turnbull's team, they run fast at the end of the season. And he tells me, he goes, yeah, we loaded. They're going to run like crap today. And because we loaded them, but we know in 2 weeks they're going to PR. And I grabbed that from him. I'm like, that, there's an overload principle in there. You overload, and then you dip, and then all of a sudden you get the high note of it. You can't do it too many times, but that's what you're doing. And you're like, this kid did not run well that day, but in 2 weeks he laid down a smoking PR.
Yeah, and kind of talk about those dynamics a little bit. As a coach, you understand it. It makes sense as a coach. Is that something that you're communicating to the players almost like on a daily basis? Like, hey, this is the why behind why we're going so hard. Yeah, you're not going to run as well as you want to, but this meet is not the end goal. Like, what does that look like?
Communication is key. I can't stress it enough. Early in life, didn't communicate enough. My now life, people say I over communicate, and I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you like 2-3 different ways. We have our team reach. I'm going to tell you, team reach it, and I'm going to tell you again, and I'm going to team reach it. Like, I just don't just throw it out once to over communicate. And like with kids, your coaching staff has to be on board with it. And I think that's what we have right now is, and what we've had this last this run is an amazing coaching staff. Like, I'll put our coaching staff of loving kids and owning kids and speaking in their lives. And some kids can absolutely handle it. And some kids, they're not made for it. They might rub them. Like when we tell them like, hey, we're loading you right now. Like, look at the volume that we're doing. We got a lot of volume. Okay. Understand, when we get to those meets and we break our season, and they know, like the parents know, everyone knows, the first third of the season, I tell them, I do not care about one thing. I do not care about that it's a meet. I don't care about your lift. Like, you're lifting on meet day. Absolutely. The first third of the season, we are loading. And then in the middle of the third, so you have like our preseason, middle of the season is we have 2 meets that we taper down to, and we talk about taper in the middle of it is like a day. Like, hey, we're going to back off today because we know tomorrow we got to spin it. Okay. And then at the end of the season, we call it the championship run. Like, we have a 3-week window where we need to be at our best. And that's where we're focusing, 2 dots. This part we don't care about. This part, yeah, we got a meet or 2 in there that we really want to have a showing. And then, basically it comes down to districts and state, and, 2 meets that matter to progress, and JV districts too. So we're talking the entire program, and it's a daily through our coaches. We tell our kids to go, at the appropriate time, ask why. Like, if you don't understand why, like our throwers, their last 2 years, frog hop, broad jumps. We go, hey, in our part of our warm up, we're going to do 4 broad jumps and sprint. And we're going to do that 3 times. And they're like, why? Gosh, why, coach? Why? And at the end, it's like dynamic flexibility, power conversion. Like, we're big bodies. Okay. And if you could convert that makes that big body explosive over it. And it takes a group, and that group bought in. And now we were throwing down the stadium this summer. I had 4 or 5 athletes down there, and they're throwing. And I go, hey, go warm up. During the summer, I'm like, hey, get your body ready. I'm not going to micromanage. I don't like micromanaging. Go warm up. And the last thing they did is 4 frog hops and a sprint. And you're like, that's our group. And they're all coming back. They're all juniors and sophomores. And you're like, that's the group of culture you need. But communication is key in letting them know, like, it's going to hurt. Like, it is painful. Early in the season is painful, and you got to embrace it of that. And that pain, pain from training, and then there's pain from injury. That's two different things. Like, you need to push yourself to a point, not to be hurt, but you need to test yourself. And if that's within the workout, within the parameters of the workout that we're doing, some workouts where, our sprinters like, oh my gosh, this is so slow. And we're like, hey, you're at 85%, but the volume we have is high, but the intensity is low. And then we start cranking it down where intensity is up and the volume goes down, as we get going. But yes, communicating, huge. And that's daily, with those kids and selling them on the, a lot of times I'll say is, hey, we all got to drink the same Kool-Aid. Like, if we're all drinking the same Kool-Aid, it's good. Like, we're all drinking it. We're not drinking something else. We're not doing something different, but we're drinking this Kool-Aid. And when that Kool-Aid says, hey, at districts, I'm PR. At this, I'm PR. And once kids sort of buy into that and drink enough Kool-Aid, that they're like, heck yeah, this is the plan, and I'm sticking to it. I'm not getting on Instagram and like, look at these Olympic, throwers. They're doing this workout. I want to do that. You're like, no, like, yes, there's some good things in there, but for the most part, they're so beyond you that these little movements are not going to help you. Like, we need to do this and this, like, and it's just them buying in. I think the biggest thing is buying into your coaches, buying into your program and what you're doing, for all.
What would you say is the greatest challenge within coaching?
For track, I mean, speaking for track, I think that it comes down to the kid buy-in and that connection with them. And that's where Rocky Minor, the guy that hired me for middle school PE, his big thing was building relationships. If I don't have a relationship with you, I cannot. Me chewing on you is not going to do anything. It's going to build a wall. We're done. But if I have a relationship where I love you, unconditionally, but also, I had a thrower he was a dancer, like, loved the arts, like, he was just a different kid than your typical thrower. And I'd show up to his performance. I just want to watch you, man. I hear about you. I'm coming to watch. And he still reminds me to the day. He graduated a while ago, and he still reminds me, he goes, you didn't treat me any different, and I think that's the key that we have is, like, no kid is different. They're kids. They want to be loved on. They want to be respected. They want to be valued, and showing that to him. And he ended up being a college thrower, and that he still brings it up. Like I said, still brings it up. Like, you came to my dance recital. I'm like, yeah, it was painful. There was a dance recital was like 2.5 hours long. And I've been to 2 dance recitals in my life. Once was for him, and once was for I had a kid named Caleb Perot. His name is Chum, 6'5", 285, 290, and probably one of my best linemen to come through of just his attitude and just.
That was the kid I was thinking of when I asked you yesterday.
Yeah, at Western.
Yeah. Okay. So he ended up going to Western. Okay.
Western.
Okay.
Yeah. And he would do dance for his feet. And we had a couple football players that were. I'm like, I'm going to go watch this. And I sat there, and I'm like, how long? And it was almost 3 hours before they were the last act, and it was like maybe a minute of them for 3 hours. And they're like, you sat the whole time. I'm like, yep.
They should have told you that they're just going to be coming on at the end. They could have gave you a better heads up.
Couldn't get a seat. It sells out. Couldn't get a seat. And so you had to be there. And so, yeah, I think the biggest thing, is those kids knowing. And then once you lock them in and they know that you genuinely love them. I mean, there's times where sometimes you're like, I'm reaching on this kid. Like, with our boys, I had a group on that state title team that, you have turd birds in the program. I mean, they're sort of, not culture sinkers, like what you're trying to do, they're just bringing it down. And that was my toughest. I always tell people that was my toughest year of coaching of my life. We won a first state title for the Cowboys in school history. We set the state scoring record. We scored in every event except for the Discus and the 400. And we were 9th in the 400 and 10th in the Discus. And that was the hardest season of coaching of my life. And my wife, I'm like, what are we doing? But if I can keep these boys, and it was my boys, if I can keep these boys alive until they're 25, man, they're going to be great dads. But their brains aren't developed. They're making dumb decisions that we had, discipline for. And I'm a big believer in mercy and grace. 3 strikes and you're out. But there's mercy on kids. I mean, they're not developed yet. And I think if a kid knows that you're there no matter what, they'll run through the wall for you. They're part of it. But it's getting to that point, and it takes time, the long game. Like, I understand, and the great thing I have is at middle school, I get to see kids as 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Like, I can grab a hold and start building that relationship. So then we call it stretching. So like if they're within our program, to stretch a kid, like to get them out of their comfort zone, and you're stretching them to believe in something they don't even believe in yet. And
I like that. I like that term.
Yeah. And then once they can do that, once you can stretch them and speak into them, they're yours. They're yours. Yeah. And that's the relationships that kids keep calling, coming around and show up at practice. And you're like, what are you doing? And you're like, oh man, I'm just coming down and say hi. I'm like, sweet, man. Come and hang out, man.
That's good stuff, Coach. I gave you a heads up beforehand. My daughter always has a question for the guest of the day. And her question was, what's your favorite place?
My favorite place, man. My favorite place, like Paradise Campground on the Mackenzie River. My wife's in-laws live right across the street now. They've been here for about, 5-6 years. It's been great. But we'd go camping every summer on the Mackenzie River. And it's called Paradise Campground. And you get next to that water, and it's nice and cool, and it's just tranquil. It's just like my favorite place is right now as I'm thinking, and it's, football. I'm like, that is where I want to be. Just in a lounge chair, feet in the water, which is absolutely freezing. Like you get a brain freeze jumping in that water. And yeah, that's one of my favorite places.
I like that.
So
that's good. That's good.
Good question by your daughter. That was a good question. I had to think about that one a little bit.
Yeah, better. Like I said earlier, it's better than some of the other ones she's come up with for some of the guests.
There's been some good ones there.
O-line, D-line for football. If you had to pinpoint what you mind or who you are as a track coach, not just the head coach, what are you coaching?
I coach shot and disc. So I'm throws. I don't have to do javelin, which is heaven. Is amazing. Hallelujah. Yeah, we just hired. Last year, we had a new javelin coach. Javelin coach before was alumni, came back for 5 years. He was with us, Jason Slaughter, amazing OCD, locked in. Everything was about it. And he ended up getting married. Of all things, he would get married and move away, which I'm like, I don't even know that kid anymore. Like, he's gone. I don't even know. Yeah. But we picked up Paula Berry, not the movie star Paula Berry. Paula Berry, she threw at Oregon, was the first female jab thrower to throw over 200 feet.
Damn.
Had the record, and she threw in the Olympics, like lives in town. Absolutely.
You guys lucked out on that one then.
Absolutely amazing. She just added to our program. And so she does our javelin, and it's been awesome. We're 1 year into our honeymoon, and it's been so great, having her. And so yes, just shot and disc of all things. Yeah. So I'm on one end of the field. I don't have to go to the other end of the field at all. Get stuck by a steel spear, coming at you. I usually just get hit by a shot put or something like that. And so
yeah, that's probably worse. That might be worse. But what's one thing that you wish more people understood about the sport of track?
I think it always comes down. I think I was thinking about that question. I go, it's not just running. Like, people, I don't know what the hang up sometimes get. And I approach kids and I recruit. I go out and I'm like, hey, come out for track and field. And they're like, I don't want to run. And I'm like, okay. And sometimes I'm like, if I am having you run in our district meet, I am the worst coach in the world, because you're not a runner. I have you penciled like you are a jumper thrower. Or you come out and you're like, if I'm having you throw shot put through the season and not run the 100, I'm one of the dumbest coaches out there, because you are a sprinter. I don't know. There's sometimes a hang up, running, especially coming out of middle school and those freshmen, and a little older. I don't want to run. You run in soccer. You run 5 miles in soccer. Okay. Volleyball. I don't want to run. You don't have to run. You have to jump, man. You jump 6,000 times in a practice. Some of our football guys, I don't want to do that. You lift, man. We throw heavy objects. We lift, I think that they get so caught up. You just run. You just run for days. No, there's more to it. There's so much more to it than that. And I think once they see it, then they're like, all right. And, if we get them, we get them. If we don't, that's,
you got to get them to Cowboy games. Got to get them through Hell Week and get them to Cowboy games.
Cowboy games. And So every Monday we do chocolate milk because that's our work day. And so when they're done, I had a great managers last couple of years, and they'll have chocolate milk on a table. Kids come get a cup. I usually get 2 cups, and we go. And then Thursdays we do PBJs because it's sort of like our coming off and we're rebooting, and kids absolutely love that. And I did the math for last year. Oh my gosh, 60 some gallons of chocolate milk. And I want to say like 500, almost 600 peanut butter jelly sandwiches were made. And that when they do that, they get a chocolate milk, and you'll see them standing and they're talking, and that community, that family, they're eating a peanut butter jelly sandwich. They're talking, like that community. We're just selling that community. So yeah, if we can get them to those days and get them in there, then we have them. Yeah. But it's getting them in the front door is come on, try it. Let's do this, kind of thing. And so,
how do you go about, establishing a sense of shared leadership within the team? Obviously, you mentioned that the families, but do you guys have a captain's process, or do you guys carry captains? What does that look like?
We do. So captains is a sort of I don't like captains. We do what's called a SALT team, SALT, student athlete leadership team. We have an application process. It's a Google form, and they got to have a reference on there. I think too many times your captains are popularity vote. They're the best on your team. They're the fastest, best looking kid on your team. But they're probably the worst teammate in connecting kids. And I mean, I'm not saying all the time because we've had some fast, good looking captains. Okay. But for the most part, I think of captains and I think of that popularity, and I've done it that way. I've done it every which way. I've had team vote on them. I've come out where I've just named them like, hey, these 5. So we do the SALT, but then we do it by position. So we have a sprint, a jump, a throw, a distance, usually, and then within there we try to go like 2, depending on the size of our team, 2 or 3 per position. So like in the throwers, we have 35 throwers. So I'm probably going to have 2 guys, 2 girls, and it can be any a freshman. We've had freshmen that have applied, but it tends to be more of our juniors, seniors, sophomores. So we have a SALT team, and I tell them they are my conduit to the heartbeat of the team. Like come through, we'll meet maybe once every other week at the end of practice, beginning of practice. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? How do we feel? Like, what do we think? They get to pick like Cowboy game teams. I try to do it before Cowboy games. They get to draft their team depending on time, which is pretty cool to see it. They're drafting who they know, who works hard. You can they know more about the kids than we do. I can tell you, they have the insight to them, but it's through that route. And then they get to pick. So there's invites. We change up our uniform. We have a couple varieties of uniforms. Traditionally we're blue. Everyone wears blue on the midweek meets. Everyone's blue. But when we go to this year, we have a set called Lightning, neon yellows. We call them our Lightning set. We have a gray set we call them Stone Cold. We just name them. And then districts, we always go black. We call them the black hole. Like nothing escapes us. We run down things, and so they get to pick those as we get going. And usually the one they pick is we use it for all of our invites. And then districts, they can choose. They went black, but traditionally we've been black, but we got a lot of teams in our league that wear black. And so we're like, we want to set apart. And so, and then we bring those applications in, and then we go through like the coaches. We go through and all right, this, and this, and this. Here's our kids. Who do we see? Who's been working hard? And we try to cross-pollinate a little bit. Like I know my throwers, and there's sometimes throwers that have done like, nah, that one, I'm not sure about that one. But if I have a couple other coaches that are going, man, they do great here. They do great. They work on this. They, they're, breakout. I see them helping teammates, something that I might not see because they're my kid in the sense of my position group. We take that into account because there's sometimes kids. I mean, there's always kids out there that, maybe they rubbed you somewhere, kind of thing. And you're like, I'm not sure if they're, much, salt material, because I'm hanging on to that memory. Well, these 3 other coaches are like, hey, that's a great kid. Like they, and you got to get past that as coaches. You got to get past that too, being able to do it. And so we do that way.
Yeah.
So assault team and then an application. And then I always wanted to try it. And I stole that from Mary Buell, our soccer coach. She's done it and she's really into it. And I just, like I said, I steal stuff. I like the form before I just had them write that on paper. Like, why do you want it? Why do you want to be assault? And a little more questions and get to know kids. And so.
No, I like that. I like that. I like the acronym right there.
Yeah. And our football, like on football, we sort of have something similar with it. I mean, it's not as the process is not, but you got to earn the right to lead. And in our heads, that means, we have spring ball camp, summer weights, pigskin camp. So there's four main dates, and you can't just show up at the beginning of the season or beginning of the summer and you go to camp, but we don't see you all summer in weights. You're doing your own thing. That's hard to connect with a player if you're not sweating in that weight room and busting your tail and being able to speak and redirect if you have to, But on the flip side of it, day one, we say that everyone in this, we're sitting up in the team room for the track and we say, everyone in here is a leader. Whether you know it or you don't, you're going to lead. You're going to lead one of two ways. Either you're going to be positive and you're going to bring this team up, or you're going to pull this team down. You're leading one way or the other. Okay. We decide that we're all going the same direction. And so you try to give them the ownership of the team. Like, we are athlete centered, we're coach driven, athlete centered. Like, without athletes, we're just old fat guys, just hanging out, talking and wanting to have fun and off the side. Okay.
Yeah.
But with athletes, we have our teams. So, I mean, our big push is we're athlete centered. Okay. Coaches driven, performance based, like that's a great thing about track is it's not like football where you have gray areas, like gray sports, I call them. Football, like, man, my son should be the starting quarterback because they can spin the ball. Well, they can't remember 3 plays in a row, snap count, where track is like, hey, they show up to practice and you got this stopwatch, your son's stopwatch. This one's faster.
Don't lie. They don't
lie. Don't lie. The only thing that gets you in trouble is your relay team. And that my only parent meetings kind of thing has been on about relays. And I have maybe once every 5-6 years, I got to have a parent meeting, like a parent meeting, not like big meeting, that thing. And so it's been really nice on that part.
If you had to go back and give your younger self some advice, or you give young aspiring coaches some advice, what would that advice be?
Oh man, dive into it and learn as much as you can. Learn from other coaches. And I think I've done a decent job of gleaming from other coaches, but asking questions. Like Dave Turnbull has been 50-second runs. I stole that. I ask the one I get choked up thinking about Mac McIntosh out of Coos Bay, longtime coach there. And we would go down to his meet and he was a military guy, everything ran on a clock. I loved it, man. Throwers were rotating. They were doing sprints. They were, it's just like a masterpiece. And I picked his brain hours. How do you do it? Give me this framework. He would share his whole season plan. And we're in the same division for it. And he just didn't care because track is like that. Track is about, man, getting the best for your kids, not at the expense of other kids. Like if you have 2 kids, different teams, I'm going to coach you hard, both teams. Yeah. And I think that's the great thing about track, the community of it. But Mac McIntosh, he go down and we just trying to figure out, and it didn't work for our team. We stole some things, but it didn't work. We couldn't quite figure out the time and the number of bodies. We had a little bit bigger team, but every year we'd meet at his meet. And that was like, we're coming down to, we're going to have a great meet and we're going to get some great PRs. Your kids, my kids, we're going to, and just gleaming. But the thing, the side story on that with him is, so the first time that our boys, we were runner up at the state meet, 2017, sort of the start of that run, we're runner up, and it was a battle between us and Marshfield. And it came down last couple events, like 300 hurdles and something else. We end up losing by 12 points. Something is at the end, it stacked up. He won it. And that next year he passed away of cancer. And it's like, I get choked up, like people talk about it and I hold things down. And when something really, my heartstrings, like it just, my throat goes. But if I'm going to lose to a guy, and
That's the
it's
guy
going to be
right there, man.
McIntosh. Yes.
Yeah.
And absolutely. And we've been to his meet 22 years, 21. I think we missed 2 years that we haven't been down to their meet. And every year I talk about his story and about his legacy. And he was big on Prefontaine, and he had an umbrella, like the team rules. I know I'm going side on this, but I think it's important that, his number one rule, and that's our number one rule. You get into these, everyone has a rule. You can't chew your gum left-handed. You can't leave your spikes untied. I mean, just like, it's like a list of rules. And we've sort of gone away from that. And number one rule is don't let your teammates down.
Yeah.
Like don't let, and it's a big umbrella. That means from on the track to the parking lot, to the grades, to what you put in your body. And then number two is leave a legacy. Like, what are you doing to help out to the next teams? And there's a couple more, build a legacy, leave a legacy. Don't let your teammates down. Compete with courage and pride. Okay. And if you notice our team, when they're done competing, they go shake the hands of those officials. And some people, they hate it. I go, no, you go shake those hands or you're not getting on the bus. Because a lot of times those are volunteers sometimes. And that's us showing that we value you, and you being here lets us have a meet. And whether we won it or we are dead last and we went 3 scratches out the right side, guess what? You go shake their hand and you tell them thank you. And so that's important. I'm sorry about that. I get choked up on that kind of thing.
I appreciate you sharing that story, man.
But McIntosh, man, absolute stud, and like gleaming. Like, I think gleaming from other coaches. And then on the flip side, there's a point in your life. Like, I think I'm in that point in my life where the first
people
half
are coming to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, if you come to me and like anything I have, I'll share. Like, but I've taken enough from it, like in the sense of, man, I've poured into coaches and they poured into me, and Fred Bouchon, Tim Montgomery, Mike Town, 3 coaches, the previous coaches. My first year, man, I bought them a lot of beers, and just trying to figure out, what am I doing? I never, as a head coach, never done it. Don't know what to do. They helped me. And last couple of years, I've had coaches. So I got NFHS National Coach of the Year. And since then, people ask, like, what do we do in our program? And it's nothing special that we do. There's nothing. Like, we all do it in some aspects. I think the degree that we do it just highlights of what our coaching staff loving kids. But last couple of years, we have my best buddy and still my best friend from back home. His son and wife are down in Mapleton, and they have a triangle track. If you ever look up Mapleton, look on Google Earth, it looks like a Dorito, and they're trying to get their program going. They have like 15 kids, 20 kids, and they need hurdles. Guess what? I got a ton of hurdles sitting on the side. Come up and get them. They need this. Hey, like that sharing, and here's my paperwork. Here's my expectation to kids and parents. They sign off like agreements, and just sharing. I think I'm at that point in my life where I just want to, like, pour into other programs, but pour into my own program. But also, like, if you need help, man, let's do it. Like Summit is, Sarah Fox is trying to pour concrete at our throws facility, in our throws area. They have like 2 rings. I'm like, you got like 9,000 throwers out here and you have 2 rings. He goes, a lot of lines. I'm like, no, we're dialed, like, over the years I've dialed in our facility. Like, I can throw like 15 shot puts at one time. I can do like 8 discus rings, we do it. Like I want reps. I don't want kids standing around, like our throw room. So I have a shed that has all of our shots and discs in it, and every kid grabs 4, and we have 30 kids. That's 120 discuses. Well, I have over 120 discs, it's just over the years collecting and fixing and doing all this stuff, but giving back. I think at that point of giving back, like what you're doing right now with your podcast, this is awesome. Cause I think it's more than anything, it's giving back to those coaches that dive in. I think I was listening to the Linfield one, and I'm just like, gosh, heck yeah, we do that. Heck. And then like that, I'm writing it down. Okay. I got to remember that, I absolutely love it, man. I think it's awesome. I wish more would talk more about not necessarily the X's and O's, because we all do it. Like, it's good to do those X's and O's, but just the culture side. Like, what does your program do? Like, what sets you apart? Those good programs, and every program sets themselves apart somehow. So, yeah.
Awesome, Coach. Well, shoot, man, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you hopping on, and, even yesterday, hopping on, and, the connection wasn't good, and coming back on today. So I appreciate that, man.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for your opportunity. And I'm interested to hear, I went down some rabbit trails that were just way out there, but
That was good, man. That was fun.
Yep.
That was fun. I appreciate you.